welcome to another episode of the Taryn Reeves Show. Today, I'm joined by one of my authors in the multi-author book project, Corporate Dropouts, Sarah Blake, all the way from Colorado. Welcome, my love. I'm so pleased to see your joyous face.
Thank you for having me. Always good to see you.
My absolute pleasure. Now, I'm going to give you a little introduction so the people listening or watching can get to know you a bit more. Sarah Blake is CEO and founder of Sarah Blake Consulting, focusing on emotional intelligence and leadership coaching. She works with individuals and companies utilizing coaching, training, facilitation, and consulting strategies to reinforce growth. Core to her personal and professional life is the belief that when there is alignment with our stories, values, and surroundings, there is alignment within. Co-creating possibilities with her clients is what drives Sarah. For over 20 years, she held many different titles in the corporate world: business development, strategic marketing, and human resources, to name a few. She has an MS in organizational leadership and development, has professional certificates across many disciplines, as well as being a founding member of the Global Institute for Thought Leadership. She is professional coach affiliated with the ACC as an emotional intelligence and leadership coach. As I said, she resides in Colorado with her dog or dogs, depending if there are foster dogs in the house. How amazing, Sarah. You do so much, and I think you're just amazing. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, as I mentioned before, you wrote a chapter in Corporate Dropouts, which saw phenomenal success across the globe. We hit 35 #1 bestsellers. Tell me, can you give us a sneak peek of what your chapter was about if somebody hasn't read that book yet?
Very concisely, my chapter was really more about what I went through and what drove me to become a corporate dropout. And I talk about how I never really considered myself a corporate dropout. I really considered myself a corporate refugee, to the point that I fought to stay. I fought for what I thought was right. And I was still pretty much forced out.
Yeah.
And I did not have a backup plan. I didn't have a side gig going on. And so the whole idea of being an entrepreneur was a little new and different for me, but it helped me redefine success going through what I went through.
Yeah, amazing. And your story is one of so much courage and resilience. It's inspiring. So thank you for having the courage to step up and tell it. Now, you were working in the defense contracting space, which is a very old model, a very patriarchal model. Tell me what it was like working in that space.
You know, to begin with, I didn't see it and I didn't recognize it because I had worked with other technology companies, and it definitely was more male dominated, and it was very, there was not a lot of diversity in general. And so coming from a couple of other tech companies to a defense contractor, it felt normal to me to be in that engineering space. It wasn't until I started self-advocating for myself, and it wasn't until I started speaking up that's when that old model, when I really began to see it. And it's funny when I look back on it, I call it grooming, when there's a certain type of culture, good or bad, and the behaviors are slowly groomed to it when you're first brought in, because typically you're lower in the echelon or you're not invited into certain meetings. And there's that microaggressions that happen, and you get groomed into just accepting it until you get to a certain level. At least for me, that's what happened. And when I started self-advocating, that's when I became the problem in their eyes.
Yeah, so interesting, that process in those big corporations. So having gone through such an intense experience, what do you feel like was your biggest learning from your time in corporate?
It's really sad and it's kind of sad to say, because my first instinct is what I think a lot of people learned through COVID. I left in 2018, and through COVID, I kept seeing these memes and quotes of you're replaceable at your job. You're not replaceable at home. And I think the biggest lesson is my health, whether it's my physical, mental, emotional health, is so much more important than climbing the ladder, than whatever societal successes are told that we should want. And I was climbing that ladder. I was, you hit the 6 figures, you get the, you're working towards the next promotion, but I didn't really focus on my health. And, if you want to say there's a silver lining in the pandemic, I think a lot of people started talking about mental health. I think a lot of people started talking about work-life balance and really meaning it. That wasn't there for me when I went through what I went through.
Yeah. Yep. So many important lessons, I think, came out of COVID. And I kind of viewed the whole situation as kind of like a reset or a wake-up call to everybody to say, hey, remember what's actually important here, because it's just madness. We seem to like run faster and faster and faster and faster and faster as a society. And it's like, hang on, like the wheels are going to fly off at some stage.
So, at the very beginning, part of my bio, I talk about when there is alignment with their stories, values, and surroundings, there's alignment within. And a lot of people, you just had talked about this, looking at things a little bit differently. The media is calling it the Great Resignation. Some people are calling it the Great Reassessment. And I say, that's great. I have a blog out there, article about, that's great that people are saying it's the Great Reassessment, but that doesn't mean anything without action. So I'm calling it the Great Realignment. And that's what I want to help people with, is how are you realigning not only yourself personally, but how are you realigning your teams, your companies, your families?
Yeah, I love that. The Great Realignment. I am totally on board with that movement, my love. Like, yes, so much yes to that. Yay. So tell me about your business, because you do such amazing things and we had such an interesting conversation before, but tell me where you're at.
So as part of my intro, we talked about me being an emotional intelligence coach and leadership coach. And emotional intelligence is such a key, I think, for society in general, whether you're in business or in your personal life. And I just got done with a call with my coach earlier today, and we were trying to sort out, how do I really describe what it is I do? Because I'm not just a coach. I'm not really a business consultant. And as we're talking, he's like, you know what you are? You're a fractional decision-making strategist. And in that conversation, I was like, wait, what is that?
Yeah.
And it's like, I saw that there was a gap with a lot of my entrepreneurial friends, and even with some people in business, that they have lost that alignment. And so I help them realign where they are so they can make those decisions quicker and faster and be able to shift and pivot when they need to, because I can see the gaps. And, we talked about all of the different education and certificates I have. I'm able to see different parts of businesses and different parts of how people are showing up and ask the right questions. That's that little bit of the coaching side to help you fill those gaps. And a lot of times they're gaps you didn't even know you had.
Yeah. Yep.
And then
making
it's the whole notion of why are you doing what you're doing, and really pulling it apart. So when you do need to make those decisions, or you want to call me up real quick and say, hey, I got a quick question, what about this or that? We can go back to those core values and who you are to be able to pull apart that why that much quicker.
Yeah, I think that's so important, especially for entrepreneurs like me who get distracted by all the shiny stuff and want to do all of the things, right? And we're like, oh yeah, right. I'm over here. And, it's like, oh, hang on, what do you need to do and in what order as well to really then get to that point or that decision. And it's so helpful to have somebody to bounce ideas off of, to brainstorm, or to even reflect back to you what is true for you.
Right. And then there's that accountability piece, right? And so, let's look at a 6-month, 12-month plan, and then we can break it down so you're not stagnated by what am I supposed to be doing today to reach that goal? We can create a plan for you, that strategy behind it, but it's still all you doing it. I merely get to co-create that possibility with you.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. I love it. Okay. So we know that you work with entrepreneurs, right? Or people in business. Who do you love to work with? Like, who is your most ideal, I would like clone the hell out of them kind of person? Who is he or she?
I would say right now, entrepreneurs that are within their first year or two of business, and they're wanting to make that leap from 5 figures to 6 figures, and they need a plan. They need a plan. They want somebody that they can bounce ideas off of. They know where they're going. They already know their purpose. They already know their business, but now they want to get processes in place. They want to get the structure in place that's going to support that 6-figure businesses.
Yeah. Amazing. And so vital, I think, because otherwise, and I did this, I'm in year 6 now of business, but in the first 3 years, I think I had no strategy. I had no plan. I was just flying by the seat of my pants. It was just like, oh, I'll do this, and then I'll do this. And then like every day was just like chaos and firefighting. I thrive quite well in that environment, but it doesn't move you forward as fast or as intentionally as it could be. Let it be easy, I say.
Right. Well, here's the other thing. As you're growing and you want to hire people like a virtual assistant or someone to help you with your social media, you got to be really clear on your strategy, and you have to have it written out, and so you can share it with other people so they can show up representing you the right way. And if you haven't gone through a lot of this process, it can be hit and miss. And I want to help take out that hit and miss for you and help you get to those decisions a lot quicker and be strategic and intentional about it.
Yeah. I love it. So what is next for you, Sarah? Now that you've kind of come to this realization, it was only this morning, so this might be a bit of a hard one, but what is next?
Gonna go out and tell the world who I am and what I'm doing and how I can help. So I'm trying, I have books in the back of my mind. I have articles I want to be writing in the back of my mind. Really this year, I've been doing a lot of inner work. So I try and come up, and I have my clients come up with their word for the year, the theme for the year. And I could not figure out, I had like 5 or 6 words. I'm like, none of this really resonates. And then it was to intentionally live my soul's purpose. What does that mean? What is my soul's purpose? And that is what I'm at the beginning stages of really doing some more of that inner work. And why am I here? Who am I here to serve and help? What can I do for my network of people or for the greater good? And so, and not just at that human level, but at that spiritual, grander level, which is, I have to say that is another bonus that came out of coming out of corporate. I don't think I ever would have been exposed to this type of work if I was still in that world.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, well, I'm certainly glad that you were able to experience that. As unpleasant as those situations are at the time, I really do believe that everything happens just as it's meant to. And I often call it getting stuck in the birth canal. It's really uncomfortable, and there's no telling how long it's going to take. And then all of a sudden you pop out the other side and you're like, oh, I can breathe now. I'm back in alignment. And it's all, it's all a process. Like, it doesn't just happen like that. Everything's a process, and it's a continual process. I don't think that we ever really stay stagnant, even though sometimes we feel like we are. There's always something happening, whether it's on a personal level, an inner level, an outer level within your business. All of these energy bodies are talking and playing and dancing together all the time. Yeah. So you mentioned that you have a couple of books in your head. Is this a solo book that you're thinking about, or perhaps a multi?
I think a solo with a bunch of multi inputs.
Oh, exciting.
So,
yeah. So a co-creation.
I think, yeah, one of the themes that I've gotten from a lot of the other authors from this book, and what's been in the media, the whole notion of toxic workplace.
Yeah.
And I've realized, and I accept the terminology of experiencing corporate trauma. And it doesn't just come from a toxic work environment. There can be microaggressions, there can be racism, ageism, sexism. And so it may be not so much viewed as toxic, but it still can cause corporate trauma.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of stories out there that the data doesn't fully reflect it. And I have spoken with a couple of women, and the guilt they have, that how much they contributed to the poor workplace environment, and they didn't realize it until they were stepping out, because how much they were groomed. And companies keep losing employees. They're talking about now this second wave of this great resignation, and why. And it's because when specifically women, because that's the people I've been talking to, when they have left the company, their data is not tracked. They are not saying honestly why they're leaving, because you're told not to say exactly why, because you don't want to burn bridges and this and that. And the real story isn't out there. And that's not going to help companies figure out how to keep people. And that's a healing process. And that for me, being part of this book, I didn't realize what a healing process this was for me. And I want to give that gift to other women who haven't even fully acknowledged and recognized that they are more than just a number. Absolutely. That they go beyond that data. So that's what I've been thinking about that for the last couple of years. And honestly, I needed to, go through a full solid 3 years of corporate detox, is what I like to call it.
Corporate
to
detox.
Be able to
I
come
love
out.
it.
Yeah. For, the birth canal, for me, it was corporate detox, to come out this other end and to say, these voices not only deserve to be heard, but they need to be heard.
Oh, it's something I'm so passionate about. It's like the ethos around my entire publishing company. It's like, you don't have to tone down your message. You don't have to be anyone but your true self, and your truth is your truth, no matter what anybody else says. And there is a way to communicate that is healing, that isn't aggressive, that isn't bathed in this victimhood or trauma or anything like that. So tell me then, Sarah, you had quite a healing process writing your chapter in Corporate Dropouts with us. How did you find working with the team here and myself at Four Eagles Publishing, going through such a personal and in-depth process? How was it for you?
It's funny, I'm getting chills right now. It was a gift. I don't know how else, there's so many positive things I can say. It was truly a gift. It was this hand-holding experience to help me through it, but it was also not a dragging me along experience, right? It was really, truly hand-holding. And when I had questions or I needed help, you all were there. And if I went silent for a while, that was okay too. As long as I was getting my stuff in on time and my edits and everything else, it was great. And I think I had written up a little testimony, and it wasn't really meant to be a testimonial, but because it truly came from my heart.
Yes.
And it is very much a testimonial, but it goes to show that in the moment that I wrote to you,
it was an email.
It was so full of gratitude and tears of, it was just tears of joy of what a beautiful story my chapter ended up being, considering the fact that, like I said, I very much corporate trauma, very much needing to detox, and it not coming across as angry and mad, because a lot of people still thought I was mad. And let me clear this up. I'm mad that this crap still happens.
Yeah.
I'm mad that my parents' generations went through it. I'm mad that women of my generation still is going through it. I'm going to be really mad that my niece's generation goes through this. Like, that's more when people say, oh, you're so mad. No, I'm passionate. I'm passionate that what happened to me, and let me share what happened to me in a matter of fact, but the emotional toll it took on me sort of way. And to be able to have this be it was very therapeutic. And that's what working with you, for me, working with you all was a little bit longer therapy session than I anticipated, but it was a therapy session nonetheless. I got so much more out of it than just writing a chapter and having it edited and being put in a book. Like it seems like that maybe that's what you're signing up for to begin with. Oh, it is so much more. It is so much more working with you all.
Yeah, thank you. I always know that it's going to be a transformational healing experience, but I'm like, do I market it that way, or am I just going to scare the pants off people? I'm like, no, it's just a book. You're just writing a chapter. It's fine. And then I trust that the right people for the right title and the right group of people are coming together at the right time. And then my team and I are holding the space and guiding them through. And it is a journey. I mean, the amount of emails and like voice messages going, oh my God, I'm having a moment. I didn't realize this was going to bring up so much stuff. And then, working through it and popping out the other side and just expanding into that next level version of confidence, self-belief, healing, brilliant shining lights that each of my authors are and will continue to be for years and years to come. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I really am. You light me up. So my love, how can people come and find you if they're like, I need the strategy, I need the help, like I need to realign with myself and my decision making so that I can really accelerate my business? How can someone come and find you and play with you?
This is totally crazy. SarahBlakeConsulting.com.
No.
Yeah, I know. It's nothing too out there. SarahBlakeConsulting.com. There will be a pop-up when you first get onto the page, and it's for a free downloadable ebook about personal values.
Awesome.
That is core to what you need for your realignment. So that is my gift to you all.
Yes, it sounds amazing. And of course, if you haven't got your copy of Corporate Dropouts yet, this is the beautiful paperback version. It is available in ebook, paperback, and hardcover, and it's just glorious. So if you have not got your copy yet, or if you know of someone who could benefit from this book, it's full of inspirational, transformational stories of women who were in a corporate environment and then for whatever reason made the decision to transition out of that, to have the courage, take the leap, and to go after creating a life based on their terms. In no way, shape, or form is this a book about bashing corporate or, saying that it's a terrible place, because some people thrive in corporate. And that's absolutely fine. I know so many people who are, but there are those of us who are not made to play in the corporate arena. Mm-hmm. And so we go and we do other things. And the women in this book are those leaders, are those women who are so courageous. And if you are wanting to write in a multi-author book project, like Sarah has done in the Authors in Corporate Dropouts, or if you're wanting to write your own solo book to act as a marketing tool and authority builder to grow your business, then please get in touch with us here at foreaglespublishing.com. You can send me a message on Facebook. I'm a real human. I'm going to chat to you. So feel free to do that. Sarah, thank you so, so much for joining me today. It was an absolute pleasure to chat to you.
Thank you. It's always good to see you.
We'll speak again soon, I'm sure.
Bye.
Bye.